Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Numerics with Nadia. In this video, we're going to continue working through our beginner geometry playlist. If you guys haven't watched the other videos on area part 1, in that video, we went through the area and perimeter of triangles, squares, and rectangles. I would encourage you to watch that video. We've also done area of irregular polygons. We've done area and circumference of circles. So I would definitely recommend watching those few videos first. Everything in this playlist, I will go ahead and add that for you guys right here. But other than that, back to today's lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to go over the area and perimeter of trapezoids, parallelogram, and rhombuses. So first off, we'll go through area of a trapezoid, area of a parallelogram, area of a rhombus, and then we'll go through some practice questions. So to start off, let's go through the formula of area of a trapezoid. Remember, perimeter is just the distance around a shape. So for all of our formulas, we'll be focusing on area, since those formulas are going to look a little bit different. So for area of a trapezoid, our formula is as follows. A equals lowercase a plus b. That sum would be divided by 2, and then we're going to multiply by h. So I'll go through here and make a little key for us. What do all these letters stand for? So the capital A, well, that's what we're solving for. We're solving for area, so A would stand for area of our trapezoid. The lowercase a, that stands for the length of base 1, the lowercase b, that would stand for the length of base 2, and don't worry, I'll go through here and label our trapezoid with all these variables as well. The h would be the height of our trapezoid. So now that we've defined what each one of these letters mean, what they stand for, and we know our formula, I'll fill in all of these letters on our trapezoid so we can visually see it. So A is our top base, B is our bottom base, right? Length of base 1, length of base 2. And now I'm drawing this dotted line straight up and down to capture the height of the trapezoid, which I've also labeled as H for you guys. So those are all of the components to figure out and plug in for area of a trapezoid. I would copy this formula into your notebook. And now we'll switch gears and we'll start doing the same process, but we'll do it for area of a parallelogram. So again, we'll go through the formula, we'll define all the variables, all the letters in that formula, and then we'll label it on our diagram. So we have our parallelogram here. Let's do the formula for the area. The area might look familiar to you guys. It's just base times height. But here we need to be a little bit more particular about it. Capital A just stands for area. B stands for the length of the base. And now for H, we're going to be a little bit more particular. This is the spot that's a little bit different. H is the perpendicular height. And if you guys remember what perpendicular is, great. If not, I will tag a video here where we went through different types of lines and angles. Now I'll go through and label this parallelogram. B is our base, and see how that dotted line forms a perpendicular angle, right? A 90-degree angle. That would be our height. So we have our base and our height labeled, and now we can move on to our last shape for today's lesson. So last but not least, we have the area of a rhombus. So we're going to go through, again, same thing as before. We'll have our diagram, we'll write out the formula, and we'll go through and label what every letter and term in that formula stands for. So we have our rhombus here in yellow. Our formula is A equals D1 times D2, that whole thing divided by 2. So capital A, we know by now, that stands for area. D1, that stands for the length of diagonal 1. D2, same thing, that just stands for the length of diagonal 2. And now that we've gone through what each term in this formula stands for, we'll go through and label our rhombus. So a diagonal is a line that goes from one side to the opposite side. So I've labeled D1 here. And now the other one will go from the tip of the rhombus to the other tip, and I will label that one with D2. So those are the two components for our formula for area of a rhombus. And now that we've gone over all three shapes, I'm going to zoom out for you guys. I hope it's not too small on your screens, but I would copy all of this down into your notebook. So the formulas, the diagrams, what all of the terms stand for, just so you have a really good understanding of all of it before we get into our practice problems. So now that you guys have copied everything down into your notebooks, we'll get into our practice section for today. The directions for our practice section say to find the area and the perimeter of the shapes below. So the shapes again are just going to be trapezoid, parallelogram, and rhombus for this video. We're going to have 3 examples total, 1 of each shape. So starting off, we have this trapezoid. We're given all of the measurements, and as a reminder, our area equation is A plus B, that whole sum, divided by 2 times H. So I'm going to go through here. Our base 1 is 6, our base 2 is 9, and our height is 4 centimeters. So now that we have all of our variables sorted out, we can go ahead and plug in. So A plus B would be 6 plus 9 divided by 2 times our height of 4. We know 6 plus 9 is 15, so 15 over 2 times 4. That 4 will put it over 1 because we're multiplying a fraction by a number. When we cross cancel, it ends up being 15 times 2 divided by 1, and we know that 15 times 2 is 30. Anything divided by 1 just stays the same. So our area for this trapezoid would be 30 centimeters squared. I will go ahead and pin here a video that goes over how to multiply fractions because that is helpful and really useful, and we use that in this practice problem, right? Now that we've finished finding the area, we also have to find the perimeter, right? And finding perimeter is just adding up all the sides that go around the shape, right? So the distance around the shape, we have 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 9 centimeters. When we add these all together, we end up getting 25 centimeters. So our perimeter for this trapezoid would be 25 centimeters, and that is it for our first practice problem. Now remember, the units for perimeter is just regular centimeters, and the units for area is always the units squared. And now that we know that and we've done our first practice problem, let's get into our second one. For our second one, we have a parallelogram here. We have all of the measurements filled in. If you recall, the formula for area of a parallelogram is just base times height. So we're given the base here, it's 10, and our perpendicular height is 8. So we know that we'll just do 10 times 8, and when we do that, our area comes out to 80 inches squared. Now that we've done our area, we'll move on to perimeter. Again, perimeter is just adding up all the sides that go around our shape. So in this case, we have 5 inches, 10 inches, 5 inches, and 10 inches. When I add those all together, I get 15 plus 15, and we know 15 plus 15, well, that just gives us 30 inches. So our perimeter would be 30 inches, and our area is 80 inches squared. That wraps up our second practice problem. Now we'll go to our third and final one. This time we have a rhombus, everything filled in, and the formula for area of a rhombus is D1 times D2 divided by 2. The measure of our first diagonal is 6 centimeters, and our second diagonal is 8 centimeters. So we will do 6 times 8 divided by 2. We know that 6 times 8 is 48. 48 divided by 2 gives us 24, and since it's area, our units will be squared. So the area of this rhombus will be 24 centimeters squared. Now, same thing again for perimeter. We're going to add up all of the measures that surround and go around our shape. So each side length here is 10 centimeters, so we're going to add them all together. So 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. We know that would just be 20 plus 20, which gives us 40. So our perimeter for this rhombus would be 40 centimeters, and that wraps up all of our practice problems for today's lesson. All right, you guys, that wraps up our video for today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please like this video if you did. Comment down below any other video topics you would like to see or any questions you may have. Please share this video with a friend and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.